This is going to be a quick tutorial on how to install NestDrop and get it working on your computer, and also some of its main functions, features, and how to use it for your own performances. So let's jump in. So first you need to download 3 different pieces of software. The first one is of course NestDrop. Now you can unzip the NestDrop zip into a folder. You can place this folder anywhere that's convenient to you, either on the desktop or in the program files, whatever works for you. Just make sure that you keep the internal folder structure so that NestDrop can find the preset files. And then you need to download Spout 2.006, that's the current version, and then also DirectX 9. Start by installing Spout, run through the installer and use all of the default settings. Next up, you need to install DirectX 9. The file that you've downloaded needs to first unzip its contents into a folder, so I placed it on the desktop so it can be easily accessed, and then you need to open up that folder and manually start the installer. Use all of the default settings. NestDrop is now fully installed now, and it's ready to use. Since NestDrop is at its core a music visualizer, you definitely need an audio source to drive the NestDrop visual reactions. Otherwise, the visuals will appear boring and static. At the end of this tutorial, we will cover how to adjust the audio routing settings in depth. Here's the library window and the video deck window. When you left click on a preset in the library, then it'll be sent to the video deck. Also notice that when you hover over a preset in the library, then a live preview appears. This isn't a video clip, but is actually a real-time preview that responds to the music. This video deck is not only a preview for you to watch, it also outputs a Spout stream. So if you open up Resolume, then we can link this Spout stream as a real-time video source. To find the Spout stream for Deck 1, head over to the Sources panel, scroll down to the bottom where it says Spout Servers, and then just click and drag on NestDrop Deck 1, and then drop it onto a button above. Click on the button to trigger it. If you experience a blackout during preset transitions, you need to manually disable the alpha channel. To use NestDrop with NestMap, if you only have one video deck, just press the Spout play button. If you have more than one Spout source, you can select your preferred source in the settings window. The queue windows can be used to create different groups of presets for you to perform with. The queue windows also give access to more features like the spacebar hotkey, assigning multiple hotkeys at once, auto-changing on the beat threshold, and custom sprites. You can create a queue window by left-clicking on the queue button in the toolbar. Multiple queue windows can be created and used at once. To add a preset into a queue window, simply drag and drop a preset from the library to the queue window. You can move a preset from one queue window to another queue window without any problem. You can also make a copy by holding Control while dragging the preset to copy it. To remove a preset, click and drag and drop it into the main library. Spacebar hotkey in auto change only targets the active queue window, which is the window with a surrounding color frame. To set a queue window as active, double-click in the title bar or press Tab or Shift Tab to cycle through all open queue windows. If a queue window is closed, it will be kept in memory and saved with all of the others. Only empty queue windows are deleted. You can see a list of all available queue windows by right-clicking on the queue button. To save your work in the default file, just press the Save button. This will update the default user setup XML file. To save using a different name, you can right-click on the Save button and choose a different file name through the Save As dialog. NestDrop will load the default user setup at startup, but you can load any user setup file by clicking the Open File button. You can also drag and drop your XML file into the library to easily load it. Once loaded, the name of the user setup will appear in the title bar and become the target file for future saves. If you would rather import the queue windows of another user setup file, hold Control before you drop the XML file into NestDrop, and then it will only import these queue windows into your current project. Five different star color tags are available to help with marking your favorites. To tag a preset with a particular color, simply drag and drop a star onto a preset. To remove a tag, then drag and drop the empty star onto a preset. By clicking on a star, you can toggle on and off a filter and only show presets tagged with this particular color. Click on the empty star to remove all filters or to quickly view all color tags. It should be noted that the favorite star's color and the deck colors are not linked. You can use the search box to filter the presets of the library windows. Type text to search for presets and sprites by their file name. The search also returns results based on the category and subcategory folder names. You can use the Escape hotkey to quickly clear the search box and show all the items again. Use the Active Preset Locator button to scroll to the active preset location. Right-clicking on this button will show a list of the categories available and allow you to scroll directly to this category section. During a live performance, you can use the spacebar to play the next right preset in the active queue window. To go back in history, press the backspace key to play the previous presets, kind of like an undo. To assign a keyboard hotkey to a preset, type a single letter or number into the hotkey text box and then drag and drop it onto a preset. This will assign a custom hotkey for quick activation. You can also drag and drop a string of characters onto several presets in the queue window. This will assign multiple hotkeys at the same time. To remove a hotkey, type in an asterisk and then drag and drop it onto a preset. You can also type in multiple asterisks and then drag and drop them onto some presets to remove multiple hotkeys at once within a queue window. You can also set the title of a queue window by typing text into this box and then drag and dropping it into the queue window background. To send text to be drawn within the actual visuals, type in some text into the hotkey box and then press enter. The beat bar manages the auto change functionality. It will automatically detect the BPM of the music based on bass peaks and then auto change the presets of the active queue window when the desired number of beats is achieved. The time base is synced every time a preset is manually triggered. To enable the auto change, click the on and off button or right click on the beat bar itself. You can also decide if you would rather have random or linear playback. In the settings window, you can select various parameters associated with different video decks. The transition time is the time required to transition between presets. A long transition time allows for the blending effect to be seen more obviously. Holding Control while manually selecting a new preset will force an instant cut, which bypasses the transition time. You can also modify the animation speed and some effects like zoom or rotation if those are used in the preset code itself. You can also select different resolutions for each of your video decks. In the General tab, you can choose to display the names of the presets. You can skip the preview image loading of the library during startup. You can also modify the live preview appearance and the number of video decks that are currently active. Finally, you can choose to record the performance into a log file. This just records the names of each preset and when they were triggered, not the visuals themselves. The sprite allows you to display an image of your choice on top of the visuals. They can fade in and out, move around, respond to the music, and so on. These effects are defined in a file in your plugin directory folder, each having an underlying code number from 00 through 99. The sprites are JPEGs, which are located in the Textures folder, and have a special category section located at the bottom of the library window. To simply display or remove a sprite, just click on it in the library. To associate an effect to a sprite, drop a number from 0 to 99 onto it. To use them with a particular preset, drop the sprite onto a preset in the queue window. If you drop a sprite onto the upper part of a preset, the sprite will be drawn on top of the preset. If you drop it onto the lower part, the sprite will be part of the preset drawing process. To remove sprites from a preset, just copy the preset by holding the Control key and then remove the original preset. NestDrop uses the default audio output of your computer for sound analysis. The default audio output is defined in the Windows sound settings. This can easily be reached by right-clicking on the speaker icon. If you change the default audio output device while the video decks are open, then you'll need to restart NestDrop for the change to take effect. To use a live audio input, you can use the Windows Listen to this device option in the sound settings to feed the input signal directly to the default audio output device. Be careful though to not create an audio feedback loop, since if you're using a microphone and your computer's hooked up to a speaker system, this could be really bad, so be careful. Another feature of NestDrop is the ability to use up to 4 video decks at the same time. To use more than one deck, change the number of video decks in the settings window. To change presets of a specific deck, you can associate a deck to a queue window by clicking on the color square in the title bar of a queue window. You can also force a preset change to our particular deck by using one of the deck hotkeys, like left shift for deck 1, left alt for deck 2, right alt for deck 3, and right shift for deck 4. These deck-specific hotkeys work in combination with many of the other default hotkeys, such as a mouse click, the custom hotkeys, drawing text, backspace, and sprites. So for instance, if you hold left alt and then click on a preset, it'll be sent directly to deck 2. Using the deck hotkeys while clicking on the locator button is also handy to find the active preset of this particular deck. If you use only 2 video decks, we can also just right-click on a preset in the library to send it directly to deck 2. This is useful for if you wish to treat deck 2 as a way to preview the presets in a larger window before sending it to deck 1. So NestDrop is pretty powerful software since it can render really high resolution visuals and also do everything in real time and react to the music. But where I think it really shines is if you combine it with visuals in Resolume, specifically visuals that have an alpha mask. So let's imagine like birds flying, and it has alpha, and then behind that you have NestDrop visuals reacting to the music. And so this combination of performing with pre-rendered visuals and real-time visuals I think is really powerful, because you get the reactions from the live music with Milkdrop obviously, but then the more polished visuals layered on top of it. So that's how I approach it. I think it's immensely powerful and a lot of fun because it allows you to actually perform with your visuals. So that's an overview of the main features of NestDrop. I hope you learned a little bit of how to use it for your own performances, and I wish you luck. Cheers!